All right, guys, we are back and we have a special guest. Um,
Which camera? Oh, I'm sorry. Which camera do?
it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to look.
I
babe.
never. Oh,
Just look
you're
at
that
us.
one that's pointing at you.
All right.
I don't ever look at the camera.
Me neither.
Okay.
All right.
Engage the audience.
Oh wow. How
Anyways,
does he know more than we do?
I
don't know.
got a couple interviews this last weekend, so
he's professional now. Anyways, we are back and we have a special guest. He is an entrepreneur, a tattoo artist of 10 years, and he hates when I call him this, my baby daddy.
Welcome.
Welcome, Drew.
how's it going?
Okay, so we have lots of questions for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I know a lot of these answers because I live with you. But your journey. Tell everyone that doesn't know how you got into tattooing, how you started, your mentor, all that good stuff.
So the journey all started, believe it or not, I was at a yard sale.
What?
Yeah.
So random.
Yeah, yard sale out in the country, and there's this. It's like an old, like a estate sale, So there's a couple barns, whatnot, and
Oh, those are the best.
right.
Yeah.
So there was this box that like the kind of metal diamond. It almost looked like a gun box type of thing.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
for some reason, caught my eye, and went checked it out, and it happened to be a tattoo machine. So from that moment, I bought
A
it.
functioning one? Like it worked?
Enough.
I didn't know it at that point. It just was a tattoo machine, and it had
Okay.
all the random needles, mags and whatnot. But even had some inks in there, but I
Dang.
didn't use the ink.
Okay, I was
So
worried.
ended up
there.
buying it for $25. The following day, went to Empire Smoke Shop.
Damn.
If you're from Vacaville, you know that place. But went and got some needles. Had no idea what size needles were. I went in asking for a single needle, and
They sell tattoo stuff at the smoke shop?
oh yeah,
That's scary. To anybody?
they did tattoos there too.
Oh shit.
What?
Okay.
They did tattoos there?
Yeah, they even have machines
learning
there.
a
They
lot.
got
I
everything there.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got needles. What about the
So,
ink?
got ink there as well.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
scared.
So,
People, I didn't know that was a thing.
first thing, I'll never forget this dude asked me, you want a 5-liner, 7-liner, 9-liner? I'm like, I didn't even know there was multiple needles in
You're
liner
like,
at
one
this
of
point.
each?
Yeah. So, long story short, get all this equipment, go home. I end up tattooing a Texans logo on my leg.
On your own
Yes.
self.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I tattooed a couple oranges first, and then you
Interesting.
couldn't really, I don't know, it really didn't make sense. So I was like,
Huh.
the only way to really find out is try it on yourself, right?
That is crazy.
His legs are decorated in.
It sounds like they, yeah, I would
It's
believe
the
that.
journey, though, and
They tell a story.
yeah, that's for sure. So end up tattooing myself. The next morning, I woke up like, what the fuck did I
Yeah.
just do? And from there and on, I started tattooing myself even more, and then I had a bunch of buddies. You'll be surprised how many people want a free tattoo. So
Oh, yeah, I bet.
start tattooing all my buddies, and at this time, a lot of my friends were passing away. So all my other friends that were still alive, they all wanted, R.I.P.,
Yeah.
R.I.P., whatever. So it's actually,
Good practice.
it kept me busy,
Yeah.
as sad as it is. But go from that, and then I did a rose on my leg, and I was like, off of YouTube, watch YouTube videos, and I did this rose, and I was like, man, I think I could actually like do this. Like it was, you could see like shape in the leaves and whatnot, and I had no idea what I was doing.
Mind
either.
you, what were you doing at the time? Where were you working?
I was working at an auto body shop prepping cars.
Okay.
Yeah, I started that summers of when I was around 15 years old, and then started doing that. I thought I was gonna be in the body shop industry.
Forever.
Yeah, and
Oh, thank God that didn't pan out that way, huh?
yeah, I mean, who knows?
That's
there's
hard work.
Yeah, it's hard work, but anyways, back to where was I?
And the roses. You were
Oh, yeah.
watching it on YouTube.
Roses, whatnot, and then decided to go get a apprenticeship. Because I didn't want to be in sanding cars for the rest of my life for
Right.
sure. So went and tried to get an apprenticeship. Asked a couple people, a couple shops. No one, 10 years ago it was a lot harder to get an apprenticeship. No one was just
Yeah.
taking people in because a lot of artists they seen it as a threat. they didn't want to share their clientele and
Or like their talent, their
their
secrets.
talent to just anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's pretty much a
Normal.
free for all in
Yeah.
a sense, and I almost feel kind of guilty of all that a little bit, but
I
we'll
mean,
get
I
there.
wouldn't.
So,
Yeah.
so go ask apprenticeship, got denied from multiple people, and then kind of got a little down on the whole journey, but thankfully I knew someone named Aaliyah
Who's
at those
that?
times.
Some
And,
crazy girl.
yeah, some crazy girl at these times, but under pretty bad circumstances, I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity under Ernie Ortiz. He was my mentor throughout all this, but he took me under his wing.
So a little bit of backstory. My cousin passed away.
I didn't want to say this part. I'll let her.
Yeah. So my cousin passed away, and he was a tattoo artist under Ernie, and it was a really big loss for our family. So it was a really kind of touchy subject, but Ernie wasn't even looking for an apprentice at this time. Mind you, Ernie is my cousin's that passed away, his sister's husband. So it's very
Okay.
close knit family. So technically, Ernie's my cousin.
Okay. I was going to say uncle. I thought it was your uncle. But
Well, I guess,
okay.
when you're older, then
Yeah.
it's uncle.
Okay.
But so I talked to Ernie about it, and I told Drew to bring in his stuff, and then he kind of like sat on it for a long time, and then eventually he ended up taking him on.
Well, I'll never forget when I first went in there. I came to him with my phone and like a couple of like pictures I've drawn,
yeah.
tattoos I've done, and he was like, "So you got a portfolio or anything?" And I was like, "Yeah." I whip out my phone, and as soon as I pulled out my phone, he's like, "No, no, 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 no. You just put that right back in your pocket. Come back with a portfolio."
He's very old school.
Yeah.
Oh, like
pretty
a
old.
printed, like
Yeah.
a book.
Yes.
Yeah, come back
Okay.
with a printed portfolio book. Go print out your pictures, make a portfolio, and then we'll talk from there. So I was like,
Interesting.
oh shit,
Yeah.
this dude means business, which
Yeah.
I liked. It showed I appreciated that, and so then I go home, talk to Lee. Next thing I know, she's got a whole portfolio made
Oh
for
my
me.
God. Of course she does.
I'm committed, okay?
I still remember whenever I picked it up in Walgreens parking lot.
That's wild. So were you always like artistic and like creative? Did you like to draw?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty.
Were you one of those kids who used to like graffiti at night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
I feel
really
like a
what
lot
I
of those
came
people
from was
Tattoo.
my
now.
grandpa. He was actually an art teacher for, I don't know, 20, 30 years out of high school. He was
Oh, yeah,
multiple
that's
different
wild.
things.
But in like an architect, like crazy huge sculptures of like dinosaurs and like
Yeah, real
wild
artists.
stuff. Like it's the
Wow.
coolest things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like that's kind of where I get like a lot of my artistic from him.
From your
But
grandpa.
I grew up doing a lot of like drawing graffiti and stuff. I never really took it to the streets just because I was scared of my parents.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth. And there's just that whole graffiti scenes could be a pretty gnarly route.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of cool people that do it. Whatnot.
Right.
But I was always the one drawing on everyone's backpacks in high school.
Okay.
All that stuff. But
So it's just something that like came natural to you.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's in your DNA.
yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Interesting.
So then get back to the apprentice part. So she made my portfolio. I go in there with the whole portfolio, get the opportunity to, do the apprenticeship. At first I started because I was still working at the body shop. Still had to make some money. I had, insurance, gas, all the things.
All the basic stuff, yeah.
So I started the body shop. I used to work 8 to 12, and then my apprenticeship was 1 to. I mean, if you know Ern, you could be at the shop, especially back
Till
then.
whenever.
Yeah, it could be 9 o'clock or it could be 1 o'clock in the
Wow.
morning. You know what I mean?
It's a long day.
Yeah, it was one of those days, but I did that probably for about, I don't know, what did you say, a year? And then my boss at the body shop, he kind of got a little, I could tell he was kind of getting a little irritated
Yeah.
because he wanted, he really liked me. He's seen a future with me, I
Yeah.
believe. I mean, I could be wrong, but I seen it.
But he saw you going in a different
Yeah, and
direction.
then he see me going there, and then one day he came and told me, "Hey, this is your last check. Da, da,
Oh
da.
shit.
Hit me up when you're done coloring on people."
Oh.
I'll never forget that.
He's a funny guy though.
Yeah.
Like if you
Okay.
knew him, it would be.
I was
But
like,
he was
"Oh, shit."
serious.
Yeah.
He was serious at
Yikes.
the times. I got nothing but love for Jared. But so from that day on, then I started the apprenticeship from what I get there around 10 o'clock till whenever.
Okay.
So that's a little bit about how the journey started. And a big thing too, when I came in, it was a very old school kind of biker shop. I had a,
Yeah.
Subaru WRX slammed on the
Oh,
ground.
you were cool.
Yeah, I was pretty cool. Well, I got cooler.
Okay. Okay.
He
What does
finally
that
got a
look like?
Harley.
So
Oh, gotcha.
I ended up selling my Subaru, 10 grand, went and bought a Harley next day for 9 grand helmet. So
Oh,
I had
come
no
on.
money left, but I had a Harley. Rode that
So-
probably during my whole apprenticeship and some. One of the main reasons was you don't really make money during the apprenticeship. You don't make money at all.
I was gonna ask how long did it take you from the start of your apprenticeship to make a good amount of money to like pay your bills at least?
Well, fortunately at this time I was still living at home.
Yeah.
I was 19 years old,
Yeah.
and I kind of progressed pretty quick during my apprenticeship to where I was making money probably like 7 months in,
Okay.
and
After the year, or
no, I made after I started, I was from 7 months. I started taking some walk-ins.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So when you're an apprentice, you don't get paid.
No,
No?
you get
Okay.
paid with the knowledge.
Right. Okay. So it's like a school.
Yeah, it's
yes and no,
school
but
you
like
work
how
for.
he was like kind of brought up too. It's not like, I don't want to say it's like shop bitch, but it's like you're cleaning, you're
Oh, you're
yeah,
the
you're
shop bitch.
you're like
Yeah.
that's what things
Yeah,
are a
that's
little
what it is.
different
There's
from.
nothing wrong with it.
No.
Nothing wrong with it
Own
at
it.
all. I
I
feel
mean,
like
that's how
you,
I started in
when
hair.
you learn like certain morals and like certain things like that you used later in life, you know what I mean?
Totally. Or
But-
just how the shop runs too. I feel like that's valuable in itself.
Yeah.
How to schedule people correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, but like nowadays versus to like back then, it's so different. Like between apprenticeships, it's like
Well, like I always say, like tattooing is probably like the actual, art of tattooing is probably about, I would say, 30% of the business.
Yeah.
You have so much more from your social skills, your appearances,
Right.
the way you do your bookings, the way you show up every day.
Yeah.
There's so much more. Tattooing's kind of the easy part.
Right.
You know
Well,
what
it's
I
the
mean?
part you
Once-
enjoy the most,
yeah.
right?
this
No,
is why
it's-
I've told you both this, that you guys both remind me sometimes of each other, because you guys like finding someone to work under you is hard in some cases because you guys are so like motivated and so
Nobody will ever be you.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
hard to understand and work with.
yeah.
That was one of the things has stuck in my mind since I started. Shout out to your husband, Steven.
Oh, he's the best. Love
He
him.
he told me that whenever I was first started going through,
He told me that so many times. That's his line.
yeah, some mental battles with apprentices and just like teaching people. He goes, just remember one thing: no one's gonna care about it as much as you do.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
And it's
once you
true.
let that go, it helps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which you can't blame them. I mean,
No.
it's your business and stuff.
Yeah.
I hope no one cares more than you do.
Right.
In a
That it would
sense.
be a problem.
You know
if
what I mean?
someone
Because
cared
someone does
more.
care more than you. What are you doing?
Right. Exactly.
And that's like the
Exactly.
beautiful thing about Ernie and him. They've like I mean, obviously it's family, but like they had such a great bond and they still do that. Like that's rare, What made you want to open a tattoo shop?
That's a good question.
You questioning it now.
As anyone young coming into the industry, especially then, that's kind of like, I feel like the goal is to, go and do things on your own. And if, I don't know, that's it's a good question, but it's a tough question.
Do you feel like I
honestly.
felt like opening a salon was just like the next step?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you feel that
Well,
way?
and
Yeah,
having
it's
like your
kinda like-
own space, your own ambiance, your own way of doing
Yeah.
things.
As an
It sounds-
artist, you kind of like, you always envision like your own shop
Yeah.
to you pimp it out how you want to do,
Right.
and you
Make it
have no rules
yours.
and whatnot. But honestly, another thing was having the kids. I didn't want to be a burden to a shop owner, like your young kid, like say I have to have the kids at the shop or something, you have to do something and the young ones come and they're crying and stuff. Like the
Right.
pressure of like having my kid crying at someone else's shop
Right.
would like I wouldn't even be able to focus or
Right.
anything.
Even though the pressure changes to like not wanting the crying to affect any of the other clientele or any artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, having kids was a big step on, I wanted my own thing, but I guess mainly is, I don't know, that's how my mind has always been. That was like my first goal. Like when I started tattooing, my goal was by 25 to own my own shop. I don't know why. I don't know. I do miss the times of me and Ern just buzzing away in there, and
The
no
simplicity.
worries. The
Yeah.
only thing I had to worry about was making my clients happy.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the only thing on my agenda.
Now there's a shit ton of bills.
Yeah, and now there's, I mean, not even just the bills. It's more just like instead of worrying about my clients stay happy, I gotta worry about keeping my artists happy, my apprentices happy, their clients happy. It's so much more that you don't ever even think of
Yeah.
until it's there. And like I don't like to disappoint anybody, and I guess that's why I probably put extra pressure on myself. But these few, I've only owned the shop for 3 years now, and I've learned a lot about like what to care about, what not to care about, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's kind of how my mindset is now. Is I didn't do this for everybody else,
Right.
and that's what I got to remember. Which it's hard because without them, you really can't do it.
Right.
To a certain point, like it takes a full team, especially the shop my size. It's
Yeah, your space is huge.
yeah, it's
What
a
is
huge shop.
2,000 square feet, isn't it?
What?
Isn't it like 2,000 square feet or
Yeah, it's over like 2,200 square feet, which, coming in, like I wanted all the space. I wanted everyone to have, no one to be on top of each other. A lot of tattoo shops, you're all stacked and whatnot.
Yeah,
And
super
like,
close.
now I know why.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's, at the end of the day, I jumped into something pretty big at a young age. And, yeah, I could have been smarter. There's a lot of people that told me, a lot of wise heads told me like, I don't know about that,
Don't do it.
But being young and being how I am, I don't really listen to.
You're like, watch me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I've made it happen and stuff, and it's successful, and
Right.
I do good, and it is a lot of pressure.
Yeah. It's just juggling a lot more things than if you
Mhm.
were just at a different shop, just worrying
Yeah.
about yourself and your clients.
Yeah.
For sure.
So knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
Knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't have such a big space. I'd probably, go into it a little smaller. Um, knowing that not everybody's gonna care like you care was like one of the big things like we talked about earlier. I would probably definitely do things a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, my artwork is why I got to where I'm at, and you start the more pressure, the more things that are on you, your work, it shows in your work and stuff. And like I've seen that over my time. And I'm not saying I've done bad tattoos on anyone or anything, but I've noticed over time, and I'm man enough to say it like that. I've seen a little decline here and then a rise here.
Right.
It's
Ebb and flows.
yeah, depending on what's going on in that month,
Right.
could be depending on my artwork.
Yeah.
And,
Funny story too is Jess. He's only done this once. Jess got Haven's name tattooed on her.
Of
And
course, for one of my best friends too.
Well, it's probably the best. What happened? I don't know
he
this.
spelled it wrong.
Oh.
Spelled Haven wrong, and Chris even wrote it down for me and stuff.
my
And
God.
but
But that's
Jessica,
the thing is she like looked at it and she's like, yeah, like
even after I tattooed it, she was all good. Went home.
Really?
Yeah, and then shows Chris, and then next thing I know, Chris hits me up. He's like, "Hey, bro, you spelled my daughter's name wrong."
Oh shit.
Talk about a shitty feeling.
What did you do though? Was it easy to fix?
Yeah.
I think he used an A instead of an E, right? Or something. So it was like a
Oh.
easy like
And I used the E instead of heaven instead of haven.
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
I feel like that would be an easy fix too, though.
Yeah,
Depending on
just
like what the
A
what
got a
the-
little squiggly line through it, so
Yeah, that's fine.
it was a
And
little
it looks
extra
great. You
fancy.
Yeah.
wouldn't even notice.
I never knew that. How funny.
Yeah.
So, also question, how did you grow to such a huge social following on Instagram?
Every day, work,
Just like
posting.
posting.
Yeah, and then that's one of the big things I preach to my apprentices while doing it is you have to post every day, no matter if you like the tattoo, if you don't like the tattoo, because there's always someone out there that's going to like it.
Yeah.
Just because you may not think it's that cool or whatnot, someone does, you know.
That's
and
kind of similar to the hair world too.
It's,
We're also
it's
picky with like
all-
our pictures. We're just
Yeah.
like, oh, this hair's out of place. Or like,
Right.
To
It's
me,
probably
it's-
like you might see it imperfection, but to the naked eye or someone else, they don't
Exactly.
see any of that. Yeah.
And it's important because, I mean, what's everybody doing all the time?
Yeah.
They're
Scrolling.
this. And if you aren't on this, you'll get forgotten
Yeah.
because there's somebody else that's doing it every day. And it just takes consistency. And then, you know, giveaways, raffles, and all
Yeah.
that, it opens you up to different types of people, you know, and then
Right.
they post. And then next thing you know, you got someone with a big following coming and getting you tattooed. And then they post you. And then it just kind of spreads like wildfire. But
Right.
I mean, I've been pretty much these last couple of years, I've kind of slowed down on posting every day just because I was really trying to build all my other artists.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's one of those things to where I didn't want to, like, you know, take the light, take the shine or anything to where, you know, I have my own business, my whole clientele, you know, pretty stable now, you know,
Yeah.
just more from word of mouth. That's kind of really how I get
Right.
a lot of my clientele now is
I honestly feel like that's where you get the best
Yeah.
clients.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
word
for
of mouth.
sure.
for sure.
Instead of just like
Then you don't deal with crazies.
right.
Well,
right.
too, I mean, there's like in this type of business, there's like kind of levels of clientele.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I mean? There's
I can only imagine.
and there's nothing wrong with all of it. It's just all part of the process. But you start tattooing, you know, a certain group of people, then they tell their friends and
Yeah.
their stuff, and then, you know, they're all type of the same group of people to where next thing you know, they ain't worrying about the price. They ain't worrying about. They
Right.
just want good work.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And they
I
ain't
mean-
looking for the best deal. They ain't, you know. So
Yeah.
there's
yeah.
a lot of that.
That's I could see. I mean, that's similar to like the hair game too. You have some clients that are like, "Oh, well, what can you do for, you know, like X amount of dollars?" And you're like, not very
You know,
much.
it's like it's the same, but it's also very, very different. And we talk about this sometimes too. It's like it blows my mind that some people are like sticker shocked when it comes to tattoos because they're on your body for
Forever. Yeah,
for
it's
literally ever.
permanent.
Like girls will pay that, if not more, on their extensions that last like a year.
year.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like kind of how you view things, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Or people will go spend $6,000 on a pair of rims, and you know their old lady curbs them all up.
Here we go, guys. Here we go.
What's
Hey,
that
you know, the
like?
curb hit me.
Yeah, popped out. You know, so it's nothing wrong with that. It's all part of learning and living, right? But it's people will pay pretty much whatever if they really want something.
Oh, totally.
You know, they'll pay $1,000 for a belt they wear once a week.
Yeah.
You know, or once a month.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Everybody values things
kids will be
differently.
wearing, you know, you're walking down the street with $2,000-$3,000 worth of clothes on, but doesn't have a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
That's wild.
Fun fact too is Drew, before he got into realism and like doing like the realistic of like all the tattoos, like that style, he was in neo-traditional. Have you ever seen that?
What I don't
It's
know
like
what that is.
Neo-traditional is like big head cartoony kind of vibes.
Oh, really?
And he was really good at it too.
Yeah,
I thought you were
it's-
gonna stick with that.
yeah, and then I don't know. I just I guess that's the results of being around a bunch of black and gray kind of Chicano artists. Like
Yeah.
one of my big mentors in this as well was this guy named Sammy De Leon Artworks. He's like one of the best airbrush artists on lowriders
Oh,
and
wow.
whatnot. One of
Yeah,
the best artists I've ever
teeniest
been around.
details, like airbrushed on cars, like these hundreds of $1,000 cars. Like
Wow.
it's beautiful work.
And he kind of like, you know, I wouldn't say take me under his wing, but you know, we went to a lot of like, you know, conventions and stuff like that, which he was all around all black and gray Chicano artists, and like
Yeah.
I fell in love with that art.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
only
it's
one,
beautiful.
it's just I don't know, just something about it just really caught my attention in my eye, and that's what I really wanted to do
Yeah.
from there on. Because, like she said, I started out drawing, neo-traditional, cartoony type of illustrations, and I thought that's what I really wanted to do. And that's another thing, as like an artist, as an apprentice, you really don't know what
Sure.
you
Yeah.
want to do or what you're going to do.
Yeah.
When you first come into the game, you eventually find yourself, I guess.
Right.
And like reversing this back to the apprentice as well, Ernie, he always told me, he's like, real tattoo artists, it will find you. You
Right.
won't find it. And I feel like that's kind of like my whole story is whenever I went into that barn at the yard sale, I didn't go there to buy a tattoo machine.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it just kind of seen it and
Yeah.
bought it, and 10 years later, I'm here.
Everything happens for a reason.
You know what I mean?
Wild.
Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
even gonna go to that yard sale. We were having like a family, thing, get together at the house, and it was out in the country, and we rode a golf cart there.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow, that's wild. That's crazy. So I feel like this is weird to say in front of you, Lee. I feel like it's hard. Sometimes, let's say you have an apprentice and you are like hounding them, like you have to post on social, and they're like, I just want to grow my clientele, but they're not doing that.
Oh, because I work with you?
How do you like navigate that? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, that is. Because it kind of comes down to like they're not listening to me. Like
Right.
I am your mentor, and I do know the
Or
ways
like they're not
to.
taking it as serious as they should be,
Yeah.
or maybe you want them to.
So there's that, but then as an artist, especially if you're already a really good artist
Yeah.
in another field, and then you're doing tattooing now to where you may be the best in this field of art that you're already at,
Mhm.
and then you start tattooing, and it's like, oh man, I'm no
Completely
longer
different.
that man anymore, or that woman, or whatever it
Right.
is, to where they expect certain stuff,
Right.
in their own mind. They want to be able to do this, do that, and then they kind of downgrade themselves
Yeah.
with the work because they aren't producing the best of them. It's still really good work,
Well, yeah, they have to learn to
but
work.
Start new.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of when that comes into play more, as if you're a newbie artist to where you really aren't top of the field in any other type of art regime.
Mhm.
And
Because you're having to retrain your mind
Yeah,
to like do
and-
different.
and you
ways of art.
expect to be so good already, but I feel like that's when it really kind of plays a big role of not
Yeah.
posting and stuff, because they don't
don't
feel
feel-
good about it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I always try and reassure them, like, this is what it is, and you are doing a good job. You are, better than half the people out there posting this stuff, and you should post because, people too like to see the whole journey.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a following, they like to see when you first started and then see you grow. Like, people appreciate that.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Totally.
So,
Yeah.
that's kind of like
Interesting.
one of my big things is, just posting every day, and whether
Right.
you like it or not, but it keeps you refreshing people's minds so you don't get forgotten.
Yeah, keeps you out there.
Mm-hmm.
Out there to
Because
the
if
world.
not, someone else is doing it.
Yeah, it's so
Mhm.
true.
Amen.
So true.
And there's a lot of people doing it now.
This makes me want to get back on my social media kick because I took a
Post
break.
to social media.
Well,
Yeah.
I've been kind of like, and that's, so say like, artist leaves or whatever, like I have to step my game back up
Yeah.
and get back on the social media, get back on our page to where, I'm posting on our page every day again to where it doesn't get forgotten about. So, we still get the walk-ins, we still get
Yeah.
the, what do you call it?
Like
Revenue.
call-ins and stuff.
Yeah, well, no, just where your page doesn't get just forgotten.
Oh,
like
yeah. The
algorithm.
algorithm. You gotta
Algorithm,
be
that's
up
the
on
word.
the algorithm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't want to
That
say
word.
it wrong.
Jesus. Yeah. So go
Sorry,
ahead. Oh.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Would you say that most of your clientele are men or women or like half and half?
Majority of them are women.
Because I feel like now
Yeah, it's
I
kind
feel like
of,
it's such a thing now for like girls to be super
Blasted.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's honestly, I've seen waves.
Yeah.
of it. You know, like there'd be times where majority of my clientele are men, and then there'd
Yeah.
be times
In
where
the beginning, it was all women.
yeah, it was
Oh,
all
Jesus.
yeah. In the
My mental
beginning,
health was unwell.
Yeah. It's interesting because we have a family member who's a tattoo artist and his wife doesn't allow him to tattoo women, but I'm like, wow, there goes like a
Which-
substantial amount of
oh
income.
yeah,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
to me, like no offense to you men out there, women are the best canvas.
Are
you know?
they?
Oh yeah, they take care.
Their pain tolerance too, huh?
Well, women are a lot more tougher when it comes to tattoos than guys. I could
That's
preach that
interesting.
left or right. Not all. There are, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. But as a whole, they are a lot tougher when it comes to their pain tolerance is way higher. But main reason is women take care of their skin.
Yeah.
You know, their skin's always a lot nicer. They're not hairy. You know, it
It's
doesn't
shaved and
shave.
exfoliated and moisturized.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then, you know, they're always showing it off. They're like
Right.
the best, like billboards, you know. And, you know, the natural eye, they're going to look at this tatted chick in the bathing suit more than this tatted dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
a business side of it, it was, you know, very, very helpful to have, you know, these hot chicks coming getting tattooed.
I
And
mean,
hot chicks, don't get offended, but
I'm
you know,
hot.
it's, we're way past that these days.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's,
it makes sense. Like
a lot more eye
woman's
drawing.
body is more, in my opinion, like beautiful and nicer
yeah.
to look at than like
Mhm.
a men's body. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't know. There's
Yeah.
just like soft and curvy. It's beautiful,
Yeah.
right? But I'm sure that's interesting.
Yeah, but that is a substantial amount of income
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah, I mean, I built my whole.
what if I was like, you can't tattoo any girl?
We wouldn't be
Oh,
together.
yeah.
You know, this would have been
That'd be hard.
a
I
hard
mean,
thing from the get go.
Yeah.
You know, because it is my business, and you know, it's what feeds us, gives us the life we have. And I'm
Right.
not saying you help
No.
out tremendously. I mean, you're a big help. We
well,
are
totally,
a team.
but yeah. Both,
But ultimately, I mean, like we built it on tattooing kind of
yeah.
sexy women,
Right.
whatever you want
Right.
to call it, you know. And it, but like I said, it's a way more. And these days, you know, sexual stuff sells.
Absolutely.
More
I mean,
than
Well, I
it's,
feel like
anything.
relationship wise too, it comes down to trust and it comes down to things like that. We've been through our fair share of like, you know, me being insecure about women or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Cause I mean, they are beautiful and
Right.
they're, you know, all of these things, but like,
And they're half naked getting tattoos.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure like
You
it's
know.
hard. Like, I don't know. I know for
10
sure.
o'clock at night. you
I
know,
would
there's-
Yeah.
have a hard time if like my
it's
husband
definitely
was
not for the weak.
like tattooing some chick and she's like barely holding
just
her
has
nipple up.
pasties
You know what I
on
mean?
or
Yeah.
like no
Like,
chonies.
I'll stop by and bring you lunch right now.
Hey, how you doing?
Does your client want anything?
yeah. So, I mean, there's been those
Interesting.
times.
Yeah.
I've definitely,
Yeah, I'm sure that. I mean,
But we've been doing
I'm
it for 10 years. She's been with me from the very start.
Right.
So it's we've kind of built through it
yeah,
and stuff, you know. And now I don't even think she really
I don't
Thinks
even,
even
twice
blinks
about
eye
it.
anymore about
yeah.
it.
So it's just like you get used to it,
yeah.
and I mean, it's what he does for a living. So, duh.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
It would be nice to get tattooed myself every
Oh.
once in a while, but you know, I don't pay very well.
She don't pay very well.
Well, interesting. Okay.
We're getting to that part.
We're working on it.
All of my
Interesting.
tattoos are like half done.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well,
We're just both busy. Who's gonna watch the kids, you know?
Yeah.
And then,
We
yeah.
Get into arguments when we do
Yeah,
get
like, hurry the fuck
tattooed.
up.
She thinks she
Why are you
owns
hurting
me.
me? He will numb everyone under the sun, but he will not numb me.
Well, you
But it's
have
one of
a
those
high
things,
pain
too.
tolerance.
She gets tattooed by anybody else. She's a savage. She gets tattooed by me, and she wants to cry the whole time.
She's being a little baby.
I can. Anyways, what's your most memorable tattoo story, you think?
Not you.
At this rate.
Most memorable tattoo. Wow. I'm not gonna bring up Carson.
Good lordy. That's the story for another day.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
what that's
With
about.
me, kind of, I didn't really like. I've never really been in like a walk-in shop.
Mhm.
You know, that's kind of where you get all the good stories.
Right.
Is like, you know, a walk-in shop next to a bar or next to,
Right.
you know, like on a main street or something. You know, like when I started my whole career, I started out at Black Dagger tattoo lounge, and we had a pretty good, rolling in of walk-ins.
Okay.
It's a well-known shop. And then Ernie wanted to go do his own thing, so of course I went and rocked with him, and we went way out to Orange Drive where there ain't nobody walking in or anything out there. So where I pretty much have had to like build my business, from social media. That was another reason why I was so big on social media. But as far and that's kind of where you get all the good stories is
Like people
random
passing
walk-ins
away or
and
anything like
Yeah,
that. Like
yeah.
that's
stuff. I mean, there's just so many stories.
yeah, you probably hear a
I
lot.
feel like all tattoos tell some kind of a story.
You
Even
Yeah,
if it's
and-
just like something that somebody enjoys or likes,
Yeah.
to look at. I feel
If
like
there's a story
still,
behind it.
Totally.
I
Yeah.
mean, I have, like good, sad, bad,
Right.
all the type of stories to where it's hard to narrow down the most memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
What
I mean?
about like the most unusual?
Oh yeah. Have you ever done anything that you're like, damn, I don't want to do this. This is not my style. I think it's ugly. Or like, have you done anything like that?
Well, that's another thing is like in the beginning,
You just
now
take what
I
you can
tattoo
get.
pretty much what I'm good at and what
Yeah.
people come to me for and stuff. And they give me a lot of like free room. And in the beginning, it's so hard for me to say something I didn't want to do because I was just so happy to be tattooing.
Right.
Like
Like
any
anything
tattoo,
that came
anything.
in.
Yeah, like I was amazed I could be making money drawing on people.
Yeah.
Like it like blew my mind.
I think
and like
that comment right there is just also goes to show of like now versus like people now, like their mindset versus,
Yeah,
then.
because I mean, I went from sanding on cars, working 40 hours a week, making $400 a week, working my ass off,
Yeah.
to drawing on someone made $400 in a couple hours.
Yeah.
And like this person's about to have my artwork on them for the rest of their
Forever.
life. They're gonna have a piece of me
That's
on them
wild.
forever.
I never thought about it like. I mean, I
What
don't
a
have any
beautiful thing.
tattoos, so I don't.
You know
I don't
what
know
I
what
mean?
that's
It's like every time that person looks down, it's like, oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it's hard for me to say, like anything I never wanted to do because I've been appreciative for every tattoo
Yeah.
I've been able to do for
Right.
the most part.
Just
you
like
know?
open to accept anything in the beginning. And
Yeah,
now
and,
you've
and
narrowed
that
it down.
again is what's pushed me to get to where I'm at because like I go into almost every tattoo nervous, damn near still to this day.
Really.
Yeah.
There was a time where
And
he
I-
like wouldn't eat for
Oh yeah.
because he would be so
I
nervous.
bet. I bet.
And that's not. I guess that's because I care. And I
Yeah.
feel like if you're not nervous going into a tattoo, you kind of stopped caring. You're
Yeah.
just like whatever.
Right.
Because you always want to produce the best result possible.
Have you ever had a client that was so nervous that I don't know, maybe they like chickened out or did they pass? Have you had anyone like
yeah.
pass out or
Oh,
how do
yeah.
you deal with that?
Oh yeah.
That
We used
must
to
be
make
gnarly.
huge candy baskets and leave it at the shop
Oh,
just
for
so
some sugar if they pass
Uh-huh.
out.
Yeah. So it's
Oh.
kind of it's kind of a common thing. So what?
Really?
Especially like people that you would be surprised. A lot of people that are really into shape in shape and that don't eat sugars and don't eat kind of bad stuff. They're
Yeah.
like really in tune with their bodies. They seem to be the ones that have
That
kind of
pass
the
out?
most issues because
Oh,
like
shit.
when you're getting tattooed, your endorphins are going so crazy where
Mm-hmm.
you need to your blood sugar drops. And
That's
people
crazy.
that don't have a lot of sugar in their system, they tend to start wanting to fade. Which
Oh.
over the 10 years, I've caught on to all the signs
Yeah.
that I'm usually able to catch them before they go.
Yeah.
Because like the first symptom is they ask to go to the bathroom. Like
Oh.
just randomly, like usually like if someone needs to go to the bathroom, they'll be like, "Hey, I need to go to the bathroom." Like when you get a break next
Right.
time, like
When you're in a
when
good
you get a
spot.
chance,
Yeah.
let me go to the bathroom. But whenever someone's like, "Hey, I need to go to the bathroom," my first instinct is to look at them,
Yeah.
and usually they're pale, sweating, and like because no one wants to admit that they're about
Right.
to
Pass
fall
out.
out, pass out.
or
Yeah.
throw up. They feel
Throw
like they're
up,
getting
like-
sick.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah,
Never
there's
thought
been
about that.
multiple times with it. So like over the time I've been able to kind of catch them before they actually go night night.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Go
mean,
night night.
Yeah,
there's
that's what it
times
is.
where it's and that's another thing about being a shop owner now is I just don't worry about I have my clients to worry about.
Yeah.
I have 6, 7 other clients sitting in chairs that I'm always having to watch and listen and like
Yeah.
my ears are everywhere.
Yeah.
To where it's just for example, the other day, one of my artists, next thing I know, they're Drew, and I look over, and it's a big thing. I don't like to make a big deal out of it because
Right.
no one likes to be embarrassed.
Right.
You know, if I passed out, I wouldn't want everybody in the shop,
swarming you.
swarming you
Yeah.
and stuff too. So, next thing I know, I hear Drew, and then sure shit, one's followed out, snoring.
Oh no, that's
And like
so
this one was
sad.
kind of a little sketchy, it kind of, because like sometimes they pop right back up, and sometimes they're like
so weird.
It
out
takes them
for
a
a minute
minute.
to where it's like,
Should
all
we-
right, do I need to call an ambulance?
yeah.
Or like, did they sign the waiver every day? The first thing I look
Sign
at is
the
the
waiver,
waiver,
please.
all the things, but it's just there's a little protocol. You got to lay them down, raise their feet so they
Right.
get blood to the head.
Yeah.
And then, they pop out of it, and,
Yeah.
you give them sugars, apple juice, candies. Don't want to give them hard candies because,
They could
Choking
choke.
hazards.
choke on it
So
and
do they
stuff.
continue to get tattooed
Yeah.
when they?
Well, you can't it's one of those things, you can't just walk out with a half-done tattoo.
Yikes.
Unless
especially
it's
if,
like
like-
ginormous and it's like you're done for the day type thing,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, but usually those people, they've gone through it and stuff.
A few
but
times they
Yeah.
don't pass out.
The outline's
Yeah.
already there. These times you're just start a new piece. You're about halfway through, and you can't replace the stencil. I mean, if situation really that critical or whatever, yeah, we could figure something out. But it's like I said, they come back to senses and they
Yeah.
want to finish it most of the time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're
Get it
like,
over
Let's
with.
get this over with. Yeah.
For sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So
can't imagine. I'd be freaked out if someone just passed out.
yeah, I'll never forget the first time it happened to me, which I knew, it was a friend of mine, friend
Yeah.
of ours, and first thing they asked if they needed a throw up, a trash can to throw up, and I was so naive to it. I was like, yeah, there's a trash can right there, go throw
Oh
up.
shit.
3 steps, boom, fell out. Yeah, luckily Ern, as the whole shop, owner, and at the time he'd been doing it for 10 years.
Oh yeah.
as
He's
well,
like,
so
oh yeah, we got this.
he heard that conversation and he got up as soon as she said she's gonna throw up, and he like caught her
Oh my
before
God.
Yeah.
she fell all the way. But all those little things, I always paid attention to him as like what
Yeah.
he did, and like, yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better mentor, honestly.
That's
just
awesome.
he taught me a lot more about just the tattoo world, just life in general.
Yeah.
What it takes to be a man of your word and treat
Right.
people. And there's a lot of phonies in this industry, especially these days.
bet.
Probably in every industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so
Wow.
shout out to Earn Dog.
Aw.
Always.
Well, I
Love
feel
that.
like we touched on everything that
A
we
lot of
needed to
things.
hear. And
Yeah.
thank you for coming.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank
Thanks for
you.
having me, guys. It was fun.
Thanks for coming with zero sleep.
Yeah.